Hi there, my name is Kay Moon and I'm a twin flame channel and Western astrologer, and this is a video about the new moon in Pisces for 2020 happening on February 23rd, 2020 at 10:32 a.m. Eastern Time if you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States. This new moon takes place here at the 4th degree of Pisces. You can see it up here in the upper left side of your screen. But it's happening alongside an interesting configuration of Nessus and Mercury conjunct each other and the energy of this new moon. Now, I go in depth about what this energy represents in the general video, which I highly encourage you to watch. But I'm just going to do a quick summary here. This is about taking emotional stock of where we've been and how we got to where we are. This particular new moon has a lot of water energy and very low air energy. Even the very mental planet of Mercury is sitting here in a water sign. And so coming to light of consciousness right now is a lot of our emotional truths about where we're at and why we're in the place we're in. Interestingly, this new moon trines Cancer North Node and is also showing us more emotional truth and allowing us to see at the root of our emotional pain why we feel the way we feel. Sextile this South Node conjunct Mars. This too is showing us a bit of information about some of the past choices that we've made that have allowed us to arrive at the point we're in our twin flame connections. So for a deeper understanding of this, this new moon is really about a deep emotional detox, a deep emotional detoxification. For a deep understanding of that, I really encourage you to watch that general video for this new moon. As in the first 10-15 minutes, I lay out the overall energies for this new moon. And now I'm going to focus on just what's going on for the divine masculine energies, which, all of us have both, and the divine feminine energies. Again, all of us have both. What's interesting here is that Jupiter, the divine masculine, at 18 degrees Capricorn, and Juno here, the divine feminine, at 20 degrees Libra, they're on very, the best way to put it is that they're at cross purposes right now. My guides kind of gave me that phrase and I was like, what does that even mean exactly? I had to Google it. They have very different intentions right now. And not only do they have different intentions, but their attention is in very different places right now. This is a really good time for those of you who are twin flames to re-listen to the channeled messages for the divine feminine and the divine masculine that occurred. I put both of them out. I think the divine feminine's channeled message for 2020 came out in November. The divine masculine's channeled message for 2020 came out in December. I will link them both below this video so that you have quick access to them. But because I covered in those videos, the functioning of those two energies over the course of the 2020 year, because this entire year they're going to be sitting at 90-degree angles from one another in squaring signs. And squaring signs bring tension. They also bring a lot of motivation, as my teacher Nadia Shah says, to figure things out. But when you look at where they're facing and what they are looking at and the vantage point they are looking from, the divine masculine sits here in Capricorn, the sign of physical world manifestation, in the sign of work ethic, legacy. And he's facing the sign of emotional truths and family and our emotional roots. The divine feminine here is sitting here in the sign of balance and partnership. And she's facing the sign of self and who she is and what she needs and her identity. I would say these two aren't focused on the same things right now at all. And you may be seeing that reflected in your twin flame connection. And not to worry, that was on schedule for this moment in time. It is appropriate. If you are finding that, your counterpart seems to be focused on something completely different than what you're focused on, it's okay. They need to be focused on the thing they're focused on right now. It's part of their evolutionary journey. It's part of their ascension at this moment. And the appropriate thing to do, the loving thing to do, is to let yourself be where you are and focus on what you need to focus on. And let them be where they are. And let them focus on what they feel called to focus on. What's interesting about this is that there's another energy at play here between the two of them that's riling up a lot of tension. And that's this Eris energy here that's sitting with Venus here in the sign of Aries. Eris in the mythology is really well known for her being known for spite. She's known for spite. She's known for disharmony and discord. She's known for her acts of retribution. That's the right way to phrase that. Her acts of retribution. And so she truly, in bringing a T-square into this energy of where the two twins sit, she is now, anchoring a T-square energy to this. There's a real sense in the connection for both twins. There's a real sense of feeling a victim of the energy and thus acting out in order to deal with the energy. So, ways that I'm seeing that play out in my sessions, I see a lot of divine masculines doing doing something in the connection where it's like, and even if you are a divine feminine, you may see this in your own divine feminine body, but happening in your masculine energy. I'm seeing a lot of divine masculines abandon the connection, turn away, and just go, it's too much. I can't do it. I can't deal, and just move in another direction. And I'm seeing a lot of divine feminines. And if you're a divine masculine, you may be noticing this in your feminine energy, because the feminine energy sits in the mental sign. It's an air sign. It's a communication sign. Air signs are communication and mental signs. Libra. Again, the divine masculine sits in an action-taking sign, an earth sign, 3D world sign, Capricorn. So masculine energy turning away in the physical world, feminine energy mentally going. There's a lot of mental warfare going on now within feminine energies. There's a lot of mental and spiritual warfare happening internally for divine feminines. Especially because the divine feminine planet here, Juno, is moving retrograde. There's a lot of turning inward on the connection energetically, like leaving the door open in the physical world and energetically withdrawing, pulling out. And so this is a period of time, this year of 2020, it's what I'm calling a pre-union year. There are definitely some twins I have seen come into some form of union. But the form of union I'm seeing twins come into this year has to do with emotional honesty and integrity about where things stand between them. All cards on the table, nothing hidden anymore. And so for some twins, that's meant, one or the other of them is being really honest about the fact that they have no intentions of leaving their marriage at this time if one or the both of them is married. Another way I'm seeing this play out is the revelation of a partner who's having a baby, or the revelation of a partner who is that they're choosing to stay with, instead of choosing the connection. Now, for some people, they would see that as that's not union. But you have to understand that when there were lies in the space between the twins, there was no possibility of true union coming forward. Now there is truth in the space between the twins. And with that truth, now we can actually build something real. We got to start with a real, honest starting place. We got to have a shored up, true foundation. Now we can build something that's likely, that's possible here. And it may not look like what you thought it was going to look like. Not today, anyway. But because there is a lot of truthfulness and a lot of recognition and honesty about what's actually going on now in the physical world, now we can move forward toward an energy of union via an energy of truth. When a foundation in a house is faulty, right? There's a fault in the foundation. What's happening there is those cracks mean that eventually the house begins to crumble. A true foundation is one where there are no cracks. And that's what 2020 is bringing forward for the twins. Now, based on this configuration alone, I can tell you this is not a very comfortable time for many twins. The truths that are up right now, that are exposed right now, and the ways that both twins are feeling right now in the connection. Like I said, this Eris energy here is causing both twins to feel very victimized by the connection. Both twins in some way recognizing the connection, both twins understanding what it is on some level, maybe not even having the same language about it, but both twins recognizing, there is some type of tie here that, is unexplainable, and both of them feeling a little bit like, whoo, how do I take the next step given this? And for my twins who are in union, one of the interesting things about this energy for you is that this is a way in which you are now having confrontations from the outer world with all of this energy in Capricorn that is asking you to start to take a look at what do you need to work on in order to solidify and protect your union. My twins who are in union are facing a lot of challenges from the 3D world, many of them financial, some of them health-wise, some of them having to do with kids, because all of this Capricorn energy is facing the sign of family and home, some of them having to move, like physically move home. And so whatever this confrontation is, from the 3D world, it's really asking twins who are in the state of union right now, 3D world union, I'll say, because all of it is a state of union once you've met your twin, but 3D world union, meaning you're married or living together in some sort of romantic partnership. There is a confrontation from the outer world that is asking your partnership to, it's placing a strain and a burden on the partnership. And so it's forcing, as my teacher Nadia Shah says about T-squares, it's forcing motivation forward. It's forcing motivation and to communicate with more emotional integrity for you two. It's forcing the two of you to step into your emotional truths and what you really need and what you really want and how you really want to operate in your connection. Okay. So just keep that in mind. You know, for twins who are in some sort of romantic partnership right now, because like I said, it's all union once you've met your twin. There is what's happening right now isn't meant to tear you apart. It's meant to strip away anything that compromises your ability to truly stand together. Okay? It's meant to force you to have a look at it. We've got Jupiter sextile Neptune here under the light of this full moon. So there is a little bit of energy here for the divine masculine and our masculine energies. Of, you know, deeper spiritual truth, deeper spiritual recognition, deeper spiritual motivation. It's coming with a lot of emotionality. You know, I have definitely seen that there are, you know, for twins who are not in some sort of 3D world union, there has been some sort of proclamation of feeling from the masculine side here, or declaration of feeling. Not necessarily a declaration of intent, just a declaration of feeling, and a disclosure of feeling in the last several weeks building up to this full moon. As that spiritual energy kind of builds about the emotional depth of the connection in their physical bodies. And there's also, you know, a neat little thing here where Jupiter, the divine masculine, has now entered into the shadow degrees of his retrograde. So Jupiter is going to go retrograde coming up soon here, May 14th through September 13th. From the it's going to get out here to the 27th degree of Capricorn, which is where Chariklo sits. I go very in depth about the importance of this Chariklo situation in the new moon in Pisces general video. So definitely have a listen to that, because there's a deep significance here about that 27th degree and this Saturn Chariklo combo here. But Jupiter is going to get out to that point, and then it's going to retrograde back to the 17th degree of Capricorn. And so during that period of time, it's going to cross over to the death point twice. Just a note of preparation for all of us, given this Eris square and the building configuration of Lilith here. It's going to get out here in Aries, Chiron here in Aries, and then Mars is going to join this energy much later in the year. I just want all of us to be aware that this is going to be an ego-breaking year. And that Jupiter retrograde over Pluto in the sign of Capricorn is going to clarify for us where our ego has gotten in the way of what it is we're trying to manifest in our connections. It'll be humbling, to say the least. And that'll be healthy. It may hurt a little, it may sting a little to see how our ego has really compromised our journey. But know that it is for the benefit of actually coming into greater union with self. And then from that union with self place, we'll have the true opportunity to have even deeper union in the connection. Whether you're, you know, in 3D partnership of some sort or some other sort of connection and union that's not a marriage, you know, you may find what we're all going to see is that we'll get into deeper union with self by the end of 2020. And it's through the ego breaking that's going to come forward in the coming months. And so, like I said, there is a lot of encouragement here with this Saturn and Capricorn and Chariklo conjunct. I'm not going to get too much into that here, but suffice it to say that it's basically an energy saying that if you do your work, the divine will show up for you, but you've got to show up first. All the themes and some of the things that come up between now in May are going to be revisited once this Jupiter retrograde begins. Some of the things that are going on and that we're going to see and things that are going to get exposed are why certain things aren't working despite our best efforts and what we need to let go of. So, Jupiter really in traditional astrology represents hope. It represents optimism and faith, and it represents, divine gifting, so to speak. But crossing over Pluto, Lord of the Underworld, there is the best way to put this is that there's a bit of a need for us to release our hope. And I don't say this lightly. For all of us, there is a need on some level to relinquish the idea that someone's coming to save us, or relinquish the belief that everything's going to be okay. And we'll all be confronting and really sitting with some very real possibilities in our own lives based on, where Capricorn sits in the house and the placement it sits in. We're all going to be really sitting with and confronting that, things really aren't okay. And that maybe no one's coming. Maybe things aren't gonna be okay. There's this scene, for those of you who ever read the Harry Potter books or saw the Harry Potter movie, I think it was in the second or the third one, where the hero, Harry Potter, learns how to create a protection animal, a protection spirit, by conjuring it up. And during, a little bit, during a scene where, his uncle, his only living family member, is being attacked and losing his life. He's new at creating this protective spirit animal. He doesn't really know how to do it well. Every time he's done it before this, he hasn't been able to really do it concretely or consistently. But here he is in the moment of truth. Can he pull this spell off? Can he do it? And, the first time he did it, because there's a moment, essentially what happens is he gets through a series of trials that include that moment, and then he's able to go back in time and lend himself assistance. And so he thought the first time he went through the experiences that someone else came and produced this very powerful spirit animal for him and protected him and protected his uncle from the attackers. Oh my gosh, I'm getting emotional just talking about this. But what happened once he went back in the time travel, he was looking at that experience and he kept going, I know this person's going to show up any minute now. He's going to show up. He's going to save us. He's going to save me and my uncle. I know it. I can feel it. And then he realized in that moment that no one was coming and no one was there but him. And it was him who saved himself. So this energy here, over the course of this year, with Jupiter and Pluto and Jericho and Saturn in this sign of 3D world physical manifestation, this is us saving ourselves in any area of life where things are falling apart, where we're getting attacked from all sides, where nothing seems to be working. That's what we're being asked to do. And all of our masculine energies within us are being asked to do, to produce our own protection spell. And so normally the advice with Jupiter is don't give up hope. But in that moment in time, had Harry held on to hope that someone else was coming, him and his uncle would have died. This energy of this year is asking all of us to give it up and to step up in the area of life where it matters to us, that we become that which we know we're capable of being. Hard truths, difficult truths. And so, yeah, for many divine feminine energies, because this square here between, the divine masculine energies up in Capricorn, it's asking us to become our own divine masculine. To become the partner to ourselves that we need. And to not take out on the connection the ways in which, our hope needs to die. To not punish the connection because it's time to let go of hope. For many people who are in union, this has to do with taking yourselves as a partnership out of situations that are compromising and undermining your connection. One or both of you may be confronting something individually or together that the connection has had to pay for as a result of, the indulgence in that thing. And so now the universe is asking you to stop letting the connection pay for it with its energy, with its time, and instead to rebuild a new way forward, rebuild a new dream, rather than kind of waiting and seeing and letting things evolve and unfold. The universe is asking you to take decisive action, to kill off certain things and build other things. All right. So I'll stop there. There's a really high level of mirroring going on between twins at this moment in time, because everything that is happening for the divine feminine is also happening for the divine masculine. There's no planetary conversation that's going on for one at this time that's not also going on for the other. Even if you are in, a heightened state of some form of separation, know that even in this, there is a union type of energy, even if it doesn't feel like it. They're both sitting in cardinal signs. They're both having a conversation with one another. So know that even in the separation, there is a level of union here. you know, one of the final interesting things I'll say that's happening for the divine feminine is a yod to her energy. So a yod, there's this Juno retrograde here at 20 degrees of Libra. Then there's this Neptune here at 17 degrees of Pisces. And then there's this Vesta here at 21 degrees of Taurus. Uh, now, these two play nicely, the Vesta and the Neptune. And what's going on between Vesta and Neptune is a commitment to our spiritual beliefs and the spiritual truth and the spiritual reality of this connection that we know that we know that we know that we know what it is in our hearts and in our bodies. Like we know what it is to in our bones with Vesta and Taurus. Because this is emotions and spiritualized emotions, Pisces, and this is the physical body, Taurus. Yet neither one of them is speaking harmoniously to the divine feminine out here in retrograde motion in Libra, balance. Even though we know that we know that we know what it is, certain things that we need aren't manifesting the way we need. There's a disconnect between what's happening in the 3D world, Taurus, and what's happening in the spiritual world, the 5D world, Pisces. There's some kind of imbalance here. And this imbalance between what's been going on in our physical bodies and in the 3D world and material plane and what's going on the spiritual plane, the 5D world, this imbalance has resulted in an imbalance between inside of the divine feminine herself, inside of the divine feminine energies. There is a break here for divine feminines, which for many, if you've experienced some sort of separation with your divine masculine counterpart, it's because this break is also happening within him too. Recall, I said Neptune's also talking to Jupiter, and we all have both energies. And this imbalance for the feminine energy has to do with, really recognizing that where we have been giving, in the 3D and where we've been giving in the 5D, how those things aren't even, they're not equal, they're imbalanced. And over the course of Juno going retrograde in the sign of balance and the sign of partnership, the divine feminine is being asked, almost even forced, into a place of bringing 3D and 5D into alignment. She can no longer continue to exist. There's so many of you I speak to who have a very high level 5D connection with zero things going on in the 3D. And that imbalance is causing a break for divine feminines. For many of you, it's a mental break. And so this retrograde energy where you're not able to feel your twin, and I'm speaking specifically now to twins who are in a form of high-level 3D world separation. This energy where you're not able to feel your twin, where you can't find him anywhere on the astral, where the astral tracks have stopped, where they have stopped coming in. It's so that you can start to come back into balance. This is about getting your 3D world to catch up with your 5D world and not be so out of step. Because when they're that far out of step, there's a cost to the divine feminine's mental health and physical health that is not tenable. Over the course of this year, all of this Aries energy that I've talked about, which is where she faces, she's facing herself this year. All of this Aries energy is forcing her to bridge the gap. Now, this isn't to say that if you've been hanging out in 5D with nothing going on in 3D that you should stop. But if you've noticed an energetic difference, This is why. It's because these things have to come into balance. They have to come into a place of truthfulness, of integrity, of wholeness, of honesty. They can't be so widely split apart anymore. For a deeper level of union with self and union with the divine to occur, they have to start coming into balance, okay? And so this is a year where that's going to happen for the divine feminine, in particular over the course of her retrograde, which goes on now until May 26th, okay? So if you'd like to have a look at, and I'm going to encourage you at this point in time, if you want to know how this plays out for you in your chart, this is honestly a new moon, and this, you know, Pisces season. Normally, I would say get a twin flame reading, but during Pisces season, this is really a much better time to get a personal reading. To really have the chance to look more deeply into your own life and what your own life is begging you to correct, so that this pre-union stage can get you to the place where you need to be for a true union of some sort to occur in the 3D world, if that's something you're looking for. And that's for my twins in separation. For my twins in union, you know, this a twin flame reading at this time is probably going to be more appropriate for you, because the things that have been coming into your lives at cross purposes at this time with who the two of you are, it may be hard to get a handle on and understand that energy fully, and what you're being asked to let go of individually and as a partnership, so that the union can flourish. This is a great time for, if you're in some sort of union, to get a twin flame reading. But if you're in some sort of separation and you want to come into union, what's on the agenda right now is more of a personal reading, taking a deeper look at yourself so that you can be prepared when that occurs. All right. Thank you so much for liking, watching, listening, subscribing, and sharing. I invite you, if you've got a platform, you know, you're more than welcome to share the information on Instagram, Facebook, provided you are giving credit, linking back to the channel. Low vibrational behavior around not giving credit really sucks. So I ask you not to do that, but I also invite you to, you know, share it widely, share the link, just so that people can find their way, if they've been struggling in any of the ways that we have discussed here. Thank you again, and I look forward to hearing how all of this resonates for you in the comment section below. Take great care, and bye for now.